Habs insider Arber Basu said that the Montreal Canadiens saw a big red flag in Matvei Michkov, and that's the reason they didn't draft him. We'll be diving into that, plus some statistics that show how amazing a lot of the defenders in the NHL are that don't hit very much, and why that bodes really well for Lane Hutson. And finally, David Reinbacher wins an award in the Swiss League, so stick around for all of that on this edition of Habs Digest. Jesse, the first thing we're going to get into today, apparently the Habs saw a big red flag with Matvei Michkov because, you know, in recent weeks after the Habs go and get Alex Newhook, a guy who's about the same size as Michkov with, let's be honest, a little bit of a lower offensive potential, at least it was seen that way. Some Habs fans were like, well, why would you not pick Michkov if you went and got Alex Newhook? It's a contradiction. Well, Arber Basu said, you know, he hasn't been able to discern on the Michkov decision, but what he knows, it wasn't just limited to size. Yes, it was a factor, but not the only one. There was other intelligence the team believed it had on this player that Canadians felt was a red flag. I'm not sure what that intelligence was exactly, but it's impossible not to get the sense that they felt they knew something that others didn't. And Jesse, you know, it's not just the Habs who passed on him, right? Like the Coyotes passed on him, the Flyers eventually took him, but Matvei Michkov, I mean, I know we're circling back to a topic that was popular a while ago, but like the fact that now Basu, who's maybe the most connected Habs insider, at least one of them, is saying like, nah, there was something going on with him. It's a little mysterious.
Right. Well, there had to be something because, I mean, when we were doing the live during the draft, like we were both astonished. Like, I mean, you know, Josh, like he put on a Wilds jersey like that. It was shocking, you know, like what happened. So you had to feel like there was something, and it's obviously not related to like his performance. He can still play hockey, and I don't really feel like it's so much of the size thing because, again, Connor Bedard at 5'10", you know, arguably close to 5'9" as well, you know, went number one as well. So, you know, again, you know, it is a good point with, you know, why did we bring on Newhook? You know, don't we want to get a little bit more balance? So it probably wasn't the size. It's not the skill, obviously. So is it something else, right? And it's all kind of conjecture. And of course, we don't want to slander the young man by any means, but it is true that this insider is getting this information from somewhere. And we have been hearing bits and pieces of things like he only wanted to go to Philadelphia and maybe, you know, kind of, you know, blacklisting the other teams for lack of a better term. You know, so maybe that's what the issue is here. And you know that Kent Hughes, it's all about culture. That's what we were kind of assuming, right? Okay, we feel like this is going to be David Reinbacher, especially when we're talking with him and just seeing how amazing his personality was, that, okay, maybe this was the tiebreaker here. But I mean, like, really interesting. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to know, like, the real reason, you know, what this red flag really is.
Yeah, it's so mysterious. You love these things like this where you really want to know, but at the end of the day, I don't think it'll ever get leaked. But I think we have a guess, and I think it's pretty close to what you said, Jesse. We know that the Habs have recently, now again, before I get into this, is complete conjecture. This is not fact. This is not anything. This is just my opinion. Just want to put that out there. But the fact that the Habs have been so focused on saying to the media, to everyone that talks to them about, we really want people who want to play for the Montreal Canadiens, and we want people who are motivated. And we saw it in like the Slafkovsky interview. The draft interview was very important for the Montreal Canadiens. You got to think there was something in the interview. Now, Kent Hughes said he had a good interview with Matvei Michkov, but what if he said, like, what are your opinions on Montreal? And if he didn't seem super committed, maybe that's one of the reasons they didn't maybe want to pick him. But regardless, pure conjecture. Not really going to spend too much more time on this because it's you know, a topic that's kind of long past, but very interesting that Basu said this nonetheless. But we're going to get into the meat of this video now, and this is the interesting stuff. We think Lane Hutson's in really good shape. So there was a stat posted showing the defenseman that hit the most per 60 minutes and the defenseman in the NHL that hit the least per 60 minutes in the last 3-ish years. And we'll show you the lists. So 5v5 hit rate, highest to lowest. You see some names like Gudas, Shen, Burrows, McDermott, Habs draft pick Jared Tenorti, Josh Brown, Yanni Hakanpää. You look down this list, Jesse, and there's not a whole lot of elite defensemen. Yeah, there's some really good ones here for sure. I mean, you know, Josh Manson solid, Trouba solid. I mean, like there are some really good players here. But a lot of these guys are not top pairing guys, and they're just kind of, you know, known as enforcer type guys. But this is where I think the NHL has taken a bit of a pivot. Look at how many amazing defensemen are here on the list of lowest 5v5 hit rate, with Quinn Hughes being number one. You got Adam Fox, Owen Power, Erik Karlsson, Cam Fowler, Shea Theodore, like Slavin, Burns. It's kind of a crazy list when you think of it this way. And again, it's not just purely offensive defensemen on this list, that people who don't hit the most. It's just some of the best defenders in the league, and I think that bodes really well for our boy Lane Hutson, who doesn't hit a ton.
It's true. These stats are really exciting because, again, it's like we see him tearing it up all the time, especially just recently in the summer showcase. We know that he can play hockey, but it's just like, okay, will it translate to the next issue? Is the size, is he big enough, right? I know this is still in the back of a lot of Habs fans' mind, even though we're seeing the highlight reels all the time from him. But when you really see these statistics, it's super comforting because it's really showing, like you said, like how the NHL has changed. And it's almost like, D-men have really been at the front of how the NHL has changed, because we're seeing that a lot of the best ones have really, offensive ones have really changed their game from hitting to obviously, goal scoring. But it's not like they just can't play defense, but they're finding other ways. And this is exactly how Lane Hutson himself plays defense, with an active stick, being really tenacious on the pressure that he puts in, using his speed to win those puck battles. So it's like we're seeing those names like Erik Karlsson, we're seeing Quint Hughes, Adam Fox. Like, you got to feel pretty soon we're going to see Lane Hutson at this name with the very top. And dare I say, he could get to the top of that list for point producers in the NHL as a defenseman.
I think it's possible. And I mean, realistically, Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox are quite good comps for Lane Hutson. I mean, Fox is a little bit bigger, but he's like 5'11". He's still not huge. Hughes definitely more of a size comparison. But you're right, Jesse. I mean, we're seeing now a lot of great NHL teams are being spurred by elite defensemen, and not just elite hitters, elite scoring defensemen, right? And that's a thing that's kind of changing in the NHL right now. So Lane Hutson kind of fits that movement. And another thing I wanted to mention is that people underestimate how good of a defender Lane Hutson can be. Like, right now, does he have lapses? Yeah. Is he the best defending prospect? No. Is he maybe a little bit worse than average? Yeah, maybe. But the thing is, Lane Hutson's so mobile and does have a good stick, and he's quick, and he has good hockey instincts. If he can just end up being an average defender with his speed and his positioning, I mean, he is just going to be one of the best defensemen in the NHL quite early, and clearly we see that even defenders that take a lot of hits, that don't hit a ton, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up being a huge negative to your team. So I think this is pretty good for our boy Lane. Final thing today, Jesse. David Reinbacher wins Youngster of the Year, maybe one of the coolest award names that we've seen in his Swiss League. We're going to pop it up here. Youngster of the Year winner, David Reinbacher. And, we kind of all saw this coming, but, I mean, it's always nice to see when a Hab prospect gets rewarded in a different league. Like, that league it's a good league. He was competing with other really good players, but our boy came out on top, and, you've got to think it's going to help his confidence even more.
And that's what's so important with these young players, right? It's all about confidence. Maybe not a huge surprise, going into the draft as, the best ranked, defenseman going in. But like you mentioned, there are some good players in that league as well. So definitely can't take that for granted. Really great for his confidence, and everything else. Another one to add to the, I'm sure, very growing trophy collection. And hopefully we can add to it even more here with the Habs.
Yeah, just maybe. I mean, I think it'd be a disappointment if he didn't get 3 or 4 Norrises, right? I mean, you got to think he's going to want to stock up his trophy case. We're not going to hold him to any high standards or anything, but that is what it is. But no, yeah, it is always cool. Habs players like rookie defenseman, Lane Hutson winning crazy awards, like player of the week, 10 times or something? I don't know. It was crazy. And Reinbacher winning an award. And even like Joshua Waugh, winning the medal with Team Canada while being on the top line, maybe not a specific award, but Habs prospects are putting themselves all over the place in the right situations on winning teams, and it's really awesome to see for the future. But that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 7,000 subs. We'd really appreciate your support. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.